afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Doc and Queenie Facebook Live. Hey, Queenie.
Hey, Doc. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. And it's another day, another special day.
What day is it? Let's see. July 25th, 2022. National Day of something?
Well, yes, there's that, but that's secondary. That's totally secondary.
So, what is the primary?
Friendship.
Wow, nice. Happy Friendship Day.
You're killing me, Queenie. You're killing me.
I usually say that. That's cute.
I know. I stole that from you. Yeah. It's Friendversary Day. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did. For those of you watching us live or certainly on the replay, Doc and Queenie met in person for the first time ever on July 25th, 2019 at a group called No Excuses Networking.
Yes. And a thank you to Laura McCaig, who is the gal who brought me. And
Absolutely. Yeah. Back then we had Laura number 1, Laura number 2, and Laura number 3 because it was Laura McCaig, Laura Lindstra, and Laura Christine. And so everybody was like, how do we figure this out? So whoever got there first was Laura 1 for the day. And that gave you just the impetus you needed to make sure that you got there nice and early.
I did because I'm competitive, I guess.
Yes, something tells me that you definitely are for sure. Yeah, but I can't believe, honestly. Now think about this really, okay? July, we are networking in person, of course, at Fazoli's in Olathe, because that's why we called it No Excuses, because if you don't choose to pay for a meal or you can't afford 20 bucks for lunch or whatever, that was a perfect place to go. So the group grew from 3, 4, 5, 6 of us to upwards of the 28 mark often. And so every time we would take a picture, people would go, how do I get invited? How much is the group? You eat if you want, you don't eat if you want. The staff there was amazing for taking great care of us and the entire team. And they kept pulling tables together for us. We had the whole back piece of the restaurant. It was fun. People made incredible relationships there. And the in-person part was awesome. And then up comes the pandemic, the lockdown, shutdown thing, and that was the end of in-person networking as we knew it. And No Excuses has not happened yet again in person, but we still do have a messenger group, and that has been a cool way to keep people together.
Yes, it definitely, I've always been networking probably the past 10 to 15 years, but this was a different type, and I was coming at it from a different business. And I made lots of friends, and No Excuses with everything you taught was eye-opening, and I learned a lot. And we've continued those friendships and those networking connections, which has been fantastic. So
we'd like to welcome our dynamic first-time friend Phyllis. She is in the Florida area, and she gets to tell me all the time about how glorious it is in Florida. So Phyllis, welcome. We're thrilled that you're with us today as we celebrate our 3rd Friendversary Day from the first time Doc and I met ever. And then next week is going to be our 2nd annual Doc and Queenie Day. And we are super duper excited for that, honestly, to be able to pull people together from all across the globe as we continue to do Girl Chat with a Faith Twist. And it's so wonderful to be part of this community. And look what's happened within the community. Some of the girls have met in, like, they comment in the chat section of these videos, and then all of a sudden they say, oh, wait a second, I see what you do. And then business gets done. And it's just one of those things that is engaging and inviting. And you can kind of tell, just like with No Excuses, when a group closes down for whatever the reason is, if you are still friends with and connected to the people in the group, then that tells me it was a great group for you.
Oh,
and
gosh,
if
yeah.
not, maybe it was time for everything to close. So it's always interesting. Like when you leave a job, are you still friends with the people that you worked with every single day? Or if you never see them again, you'll be okay with that. So it kind of depends on the relationship piece.
Yes. And, as we've talked in other formats, our Bible studies and all that, God brings people in certain times and then moves them out, or vice versa, but Doc and Queenie, Faithful Friends on Purpose, has been fantastic. and we've met tons of people, and it's been a lot of fun. So we have to do our traditional National Day
Uh-oh,
of.
I'm a little nervous. What is this going to be? Slimy
I
soup
know.
or something? I don't know. I never know
Well,
what it's
and
going to be.
I like to focus on food because some of them are you're just kind of like, okay. So there are two foods and one not so food for our day. So I'm going to get to my backgrounds. So for our National Day of today, we are
Is
going
today
to
really
do,
National
and I know
Friendship
you're just
Day?
going
Is
to,
today?
no, I
Oh,
do,
okay. I
yeah,
was just
no, it's
wondering.
not. And I actually saw that the other day and I can't remember which day it was,
Okay, well, I
but
was
it
wondering if
popped
it
up.
was really today. Is that monster thing a hot fudge sundae?
That is Happy National Hot Fudge Sunday Day. I know
Oh
you would
my
be totally
goodness.
burnt up, but I
Well,
chose this
hmm,
picture. No, it's killing you. I
yeah, it
chose this
does.
picture because it's got lots of extra hot fudge. For those of us that love sweet and hot fudge sundaes, I always I always ask for extra hot fudge, and then I love the cherries. And Phyllis agrees with me. So I could take or leave the nuts on top, but the more hot fudge, it has to be swimming. So
Oh my
happy
gosh.
National Hot
Well,
Fudge
and I
Sunday.
definitely appreciate that. Now, one thing I will say, the presentation is lovely, and a hot fudge sundae from Baskin Robbins was my mother's favorite treat. And so I already knew if I ever made the mistake to say, where would you like to go for any kind of dessert? And I said, any kind. Tiramisu from Jasper's, whatever you want, sky's the limit. Let's do your thing. She always picked a hot fudge sundae from Baskin Robbins. No nuts, no cherries, just hunkered down with the hot fudge, and that was her thing.
Always extra hot fudge.
Oh,
Facebook user.
yeah.
All right.
Oh my
Okay, so we're gonna punt and pivot to
Okay.
your happy national. Can you take a guess what this national day is?
Uh, National Day of, tell me.
Wine and cheese.
Hmm.
And of course, there's a little sourdough bread in the background. I'm guessing this actually looks like Parmigiano Reggiano kind of cheese. I'm
Yeah,
not
it
sure.
does actually. It looks like Parmesan that
Doesn't
you
it?
would grate. Yeah. All right. Now I could probably go after that better. And our Facebook user, by the way, because I just peeked, is Dynamic Grace Strawn, Amazing Grace, as we call her.
Nice.
So wine, cheese. Now, here's I guess maybe dumb question. They serve bread when you do a wine and cheese tasting party kind of thing. Is that to soak up the stomach content situation or to keep you from eating too much or what? I just have never
I,
figured
you
out what
know,
bread has to do with all that.
yeah, because I know they give you something to cleanse your palate. Maybe
Okay.
maybe the bread, and bread and cheese, especially sourdough dough bread. I mean, who doesn't like sourdough
Oh
bread?
my gosh. Yeah, I could definitely go after that.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, and a great night in front of a fireplace. Well, we'll take you're in Florida, Phyllis.
yeah.
We're in Kansas City. We got rain today, so we are super excited. It's in the 70s. We're not ready for the cold yet.
Seriously, yeah, no
but
kidding.
but yes, totally. That's a good question. I don't know because
And
I
Michael,
always just assume I know the cheese.
it's a great fit. And I've
Yeah,
also
I know the
seen
cheese is
grapes with this little scenario too. And I, of course, wouldn't mind the grapes if
yes.
they are not super duper sweet. So I could do that.
So it looks like Grace is going to have to celebrate. We agree with you 110%.
How Grace is always ready for a
I know where
celebration.
to live. If I had time, I'd be right over.
Oh my gosh. That
Okay,
is,
so for our last National Day of Queenie.
uh-oh.
Okay. The terminology is merry-go-round. Now, let's see if I can point. Yes, I got it right on the first try. That actually, they refer to that as a carousel or a merry-go-round. See, I blew it, but that's merry-go-round. Remember those as kids? I used to get so dizzy on those. Of course, my sister would be running 900 miles an hour. So yeah, memories as growing up as a kid. And then this little carousel, This is kind of nostalgic because this actually is a carousel that was built in 1950, and this is up in Leavenworth, Kansas. And I actually rode that just cause. I mean, it's really cool. The horses and all of that, they maintain it, and they're beautiful, and the detail is really incredible on carousels. But yeah, so happy merry-go-round National Merry-Go-Round Day.
That might be one of the reasons at the Royals game yesterday, they put on TV, which I actually either have never noticed or paid attention to before. They put at the Kaufman Stadium, there is a carousel in the kids section. And they had adults, of course, also. And Slugger is on the carousel as far as his one of the characters on the carousel is Slugger. And so it was pretty interesting. And maybe that's why they did it, because National Merry-Go-Round Day is today. But I had never noticed them putting the carousel on like during the game kind of thing. Look what goes on in the kids section. And so I thought that was kind of interesting, because there are carousels, and sometimes do we not notice, pay attention, or care? And other times it's like, oh my gosh, that does bring you back, because in the olden days, all that was available for play, fun stuff was a carousel. And we called it a merry-go-round for sure.
And Grace said, do the merry-go-round before the wine and cheese. Yes, I agree. That would be it would be a poor choice to do it the other way around.
She is such a good helper. Oh my gosh, that is so true, Grace. And Michelle, of course, likes her hashtag. So thank you, Michelle, for joining us as well. And think about this too. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the community piece. Grace, Michelle, and now Phyllis. And you see how this continues to grow, grow, grow. How we have met in different locations that we go to. There are networking groups in Kansas City that meet in person, certainly. Chambers of commerce all over the place. And it's just very awesome. And then Phyllis is a great networker also, by the way, and I think she's on the Gulf side of Florida. And it's back to that same drill. Ooh. You never know who you get to meet. And it is just so fun to be part of this community for sure.
Totally. Yes, we're going to have to visit Phyllis. She's on the Gulf side. Awesome. So, we're gonna go through some of this, and this is our bounce off. We've got a word of the day for Doc and Queenie. Do you have any idea what it is?
Word of the day. If it's not friendship, I'd be surprised, and if it's not Friendversary, I'd be surprised. But you tell me word of the day.
You got it, Queenie. You got it in the first try. It's friendship is the day, or the word of the day, I should say. So, yes, we would love to meet Phyllis too.
Yeah, one of our dynamic networkers in the Happy Neighborhood Project, and she is definitely a wellness associate. So, being around Phyllis is a joy. Let me just tell you, she's been to
and we are wellness.
Oh my God!
And when we are wellness people ourselves, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yes. Cool. So what does friendship mean to you, Queenie?
For me, the friendship piece is always a trust factor and a camaraderie factor and a partnership, certainly. And just like I was mentioning before, when you leave a group or leave a job or leave wherever you've been, if there aren't people that you still associate with, then it was a work relationship only. No friendship, no camaraderie, no relationship building. From what I can see, you worked together, you did your thing, and when you were finished, it was like goodbye. And so for me, friendship is different than that. Now, sometimes, and Doc, I know that you've experienced this when you've moved all the different places with your family. People come into our lives for a reason and a season. And so once you move, then obviously that changes the dynamic. You don't see your neighbor over the fence for coffee every day kind of thing. But other times, if the friendship piece, especially now that we can stay together virtually, it's back to that same drill. There's no limits on who we can friend with, even if we friendship through Zoom. So I think that's a big deal.
Yes. We've talked about, we've got a friend, we've never met her in person. Her name's Jody Giroux, and she is a faithful friend on purpose, and she's up in Wisconsin. And that's exactly what we do. We Zoom with her, whether we're networking or not. We've kept in touch. That's been a joy to have that friendship And we all of us keep saying one of these days we will meet in person. But yeah, friendship. Yes, people come in and out. And I was actually thinking about when we first started the Doc and Queenie piece with the pandemic, and we talk about and we refer to that whole punt and pivot piece on my podcast channel, which was a punt and pivot, something I had never done back then. It's actually towards the beginning. It's a different podcast name, but it used to be called Mighty Morning Moments, and I talk about friendship because we had discussed that in some of our Doc and Queenie, and I thought, this is a great topic to just talk about it. So if anybody is interested, just go to It's All About Food, and it's towards the bottom. It's probably towards the beginnings, and it's hilarious because it's changed over the years. I've had it for a couple of years now, and now I'm in the gardening business, so it's more garden based. But when I first started that channel, I talked about friendship, and like you said, there are people that come in and out. And then there are kind of like circles of friendship. There's acquaintances, there's work buddies, there's friends, and then there's, if you want to say best friends, I know we both have talked about that. We usually don't do a bestie. That's a whole different, to me, that's overused. That terminology, is overused because there's a lot of people that I'm close to, but I don't know where the line is on the bestie piece. What's your thought on that, Queenie?
Well, certainly I always think of my best friend, Jeannie. We've been together since in high school. And so, and I'm not giving away any years here, but honestly, it's been
You're only 29.
Absolutely. And that's why I can't say it's been a 50-something year friendship situation, but it's back to that same drill. The people who know you best and are still in your life would constitute best friend to me. But then even young people are millennial level are doing the BFF stuff all the time. What does that cause? Instant drama. You're my best friend. No, you're my best friend. No, you're my best friend. I thought she was my best friend. Oh my gosh. When it goes that degree, I'm out. And so I do think you're right. That topic not only is overused, but they miss the whole point of the best friendship piece really is, for me, a long-term topic, not necessarily a degree of the friendship piece. And I think it causes a lot of drama now. And you see hashtag BFF all the time. And I see that and I just go, there's going to be a big fight coming up here soon. I can just tell.
Yes. Yeah. And, and for me, it's kind of the same thing with one exception. I think in friendship, they talk about in marriage, there's a soulmate. I think there's also a friendship version of a soulmate per se. And that's usually one person. There's one person. And I don't know if that's the longevity of somebody that you've known over the years or whatever, but that's my only exception. But I agree with you on the other stuff.
And I think it's a depth and a trust piece. And that's the difference. And plus, it's a cover for someone. So a friendship would see the other person going on a scary kind of path. And instead of just going, what a bummer, you would hope to either intervene verbally or physically to see if you could keep that tsunami from happening. So to me, that would take it to a different level as well.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. So happy National Everything and happy Friendship Word of the Day.
Yes, and thank you. And the friendship piece is just awesome because I think that's what has happened in the Doc and Queenie community is friendships have been built just from the comments on the videos. And I think that's the part that is so fun. Those pictures are so great. Oh my gosh. And you know what's interesting, Doc? Look how you looked when we first met. Okay, because that chief stuff was actually happening in January 2020. And so that really was an interesting thing. And your hair was so super duper long. And then you think about what have these last 2 years meant to you? And so they go, oh, and most people are doing the dread thing. I'm sorry about the illnesses. I'm sorry, certainly, that we've lost loved ones, that kind of thing, because of those pandemic topics. But if not for the pandemic, what? And so I always think about, if not for the pandemic, what would not have happened in your life? And for me, my third book wouldn't have been written. There wouldn't have been a reason for Networking on Steroids PQ. All of this YouTube training and certainly posting parties and even the Happy Neighborhood Project, I would never
Right.
have found because I was so busy with Chambers of Commerce. I wouldn't have had time for HMP. And so, if not for the pandemic, what for you, Doc?
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't expect you to flip that so quickly. I thought you were going to keep going. Well, Doc and Queenie, of course. And then I got into podcasting. I've gotten into more social media. As you know, Instagram is my friend. I love it because of the creativity. Before I became a naturopath, ago, I got my first degree in graphic design. So I love these platforms where you can be creative. And, I'm also building websites for people. So all of this stuff, I'm having a blast. I mean, that's from that punt and pivot. I'm learning a lot. I'm still not where I want to be as far as some of the goals I've set, but I'm on my way. And that has been a learning lesson too. And that's, as we talk about, you're an overnight success at how many years? 2 years, was it?
It only took 14 years.
Yeah. And it's that consistent, constant, feeding different social media pieces and doing different things. But for me, I'm a lifelong person that loves to learn. So I can say during the pandemic when it started, as a gardener, my garden was in the best, shape it's ever been because I had the time. I was outside constantly, and everything looked gorgeous and beautiful, and I was learning. And that's actually, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have gotten the idea because I saw a gal on Facebook. Her name's Nicole Burke, and she started a company called Gardenary, and now I work for her. So that's one of my jobs in addition to my own gardening business. So it's that opportunity when you take a step in a certain direction. There's always opportunity in whatever direction you are going in. There's always opportunity, and if things don't, and I like to say if things, and I don't like to use the word fail. If things don't work out, there's always something to learn from that. There's always something to learn for that. And my biggest example is this year I started a community garden, and the rain we've had the first part of the season for 8 weeks messed up the garden. Like it's been a struggle now. The weeds have taken over, the nutrients in the soil were wiped out, but it's a punt and pivot. It's okay, what can we do? Right now I'm watering what I can. I'm still trying to save things, and things are producing, but everything is stunted. But the learning experience is like, okay, well, we'll do it a little differently next year. And it's the positive. I actually posted the other day, we had potatoes. Normally they'd be this big. They were this big. But hey, we still cooked with them, so that's a positive. So.
No, and just like you said, you can't control the rain. And so a lot of people actually have been posting that their gardens have struggled, and you have had better success with your kitchen garden boxes. And that tells me right off the bat, as soon as you teach someone how to build a garden box or build it for them or however you do that, now they have bigger success than if you just put it out in the ground and hope that the clay and all the crud is not going to attack it and the rain's going to affect it and blah, blah, blah. So your garden personally at your house has done great, but the acre piece that you've been working on for the community garden with all that rain and everything turned out to be swampland, I don't see how any of that could have worked. But you obviously, I don't think you control the rain, do you?
Not yet. I couldn't resist it.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, God. No, just joking. No, I don't. And it was an experiment, and we will learn. All of us that together with that, we will learn. How to adjust, and now the conversation is, well, we can grow just as much as we had planted this year in a smaller amount of space in garden beds. So we'll see what happens.
Now look at the comments from Grace with the consistency in life, friendship, relationships, and business is so important. Never fail to be consistent in
Yep.
life. And Phyllis actually lost a childhood friend before COVID and one during COVID. And Happy Neighborhood Project has helped her to open up her heart and let people in. And it's back to that same drill. I have been noticing, and I usually don't post about my grief journey book. Just because nobody wants to talk about death, and it's not about me in this case at all. It's about what I have learned on the grief journey. So I posted that on LinkedIn this time. And the preface was, many people have suffered loss of a loved one through death during these last few years. And if you know someone that this would help, he hit the clouds running and never looked back. Here is the link to the YouTube playlist for the grief journey piece, along with, I put in the comment section, the postcard for what to say and what not to say when someone has died. And so it's back to that same drill. Look at the growth and the, I guess you would call it, expansion of people realizing, I better figure this death thing out. And all of a sudden, if you have, I tell people, once you go through my book, you have earned your PhD DD, which is personally having dealt with death degree, because now you know what to say or how to help someone who has lost a loved one to death. It's back to that same drill. I feel that once we've experienced anything, success in business or the loss of a loved one to death or whatever that looks like, once we have experienced anything, I feel that it's our job to help the next person or the next tribe through their journey so that they won't have to maybe do the same struggles that you did.
And that is the definition of a successful business person or a successful person. You know, I'm focusing on the business because that's what we talk about a lot. When you see successful business owners, they're always helping others. They're always helping others, get to the next level. And I'm going to let out the little secret. When we start our new format, that's kind of the background on what we're going to try and help people with what we know. It's going to be right. Wouldn't you say leaning towards more education, which will help people?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, yeah, I've read your book, and it really helped me with, like you say, our okay. And I'm trying not to, we're all in the habit of saying I'm sorry when somebody passes away.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry for your loss, and we've never thought about really how that comes across to the person that's going through this journey. And that your book really opened my eyes to that piece. So are we actually, we're already, oh my gosh, is it going to spin, Queenie?
I didn't want to spin it while you were talking because the sound happens. But before we go,
that's right.
This will be what we will be using starting next week. I can't believe it's our second annual Doc and Queenie Day, which is the celebration of Doc and Queenie community having started on August 3rd, 2020. And so the cool part is now this is our second Doc and Queenie Day celebration. So Doc and I have decided that we're going to spin the wheel every time, and whatever the wheel lands on, and we're happy to add new sections to the wheel, that's what Doc or I or both of us will chat about. And I wanted to let everybody on this call know, again, live or on the replay, that Fun Fearless Female Global Community of Christian Women with Delinda Lane, Delinda is actually hosting a YouTube party teaching on her WOW Wednesday, which is Monday, August 3rd at 1:00 Central Time. And so I'll be helping with YouTube training and things like that, how to get your YouTube channel up and running if you don't have it yet. And so let's spin just today, Doc, and see what will actually be, how the wheel itself actually works. Thank you, Internet and Wi-Fi. We have to wait till it stops automatically because you never know. Okay. And so now with event photos, how many times have we talked about event photos and whether people brand correctly, whether they don't brand correctly, what to put? You are so good at tagging your pictures when you've done your reels and all of your different things for Instagram. And every single time I see those, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And so when somebody sees that picture, that photograph outside your name, your section, then they don't have to guess whose it is because they can see it written already on your picture. You have done a great job with branding.
Thank you, Queenie. And so the Wow Wednesday is Wednesday, August 3rd for
At
Fun
one,
Fearless
yeah,
Female
at 1 o'clock Central. Yeah.
at 1 o'clock. Okay. All
Hmm.
right. I want to make sure I got that straight. Yeah, it's all about hashtags, really, especially when you're coming to Instagram. And like I've hit another milestone. It's incredible. I'm averaging now 30,000. I'm hitting 30,000 people a day. And I am an A, or as I am an A in the bank system. We can talk about that too on Doc and Queenie, but and I am an A personality to start with, but I'm also a B with the numbers and that kind of floats my boat. So I always look at the stats. And so, yeah, I actually yesterday I'm up 147% higher amount of accounts I'm reaching compared to last month. And I'm averaging, my likes are finally, because I was whining a couple of weeks ago about like I'm hitting all of these people and nobody's liking it, and all of a sudden it's turned and everything is just kind of, but it's who it's friends, everybody's tagging everybody and liking. Yeah, it's we're all interconnected. But yeah, hashtags and that could be a teaching tool too for both of us, because we both use them and we both use them in different ways. um, and I love the creativity of the hashtags too. And it's funny, I've been working on Instagram for the company I work for, and I've been writing down some of these. There are people that have really creative hashtags out there. So, for example, the Barefoot Gardener, she's on Instagram, and I just love it. That's a hashtag, So, so
The Barefoot Gardener.
yep,
Wow, that is a very cool hashtag.
yes,
Now, what is the
yes.
hashtag that you use most often, Doc, that every time you do a post, you always do it?
Well, I have a set of them, but I would say the top three are Garden Doc 7,
Okay.
Kitchen Garden Expert,
Okay.
and Garden to Table.
Ah,
Those are my top three. And
okay.
then I fill in gardening, garden, raised bed gardening, garden KC. I'm trying to think of what else. I've got a list here somewhere. Of course, I can't see it. What else do I do? It's all about food, garden life, healthy lifestyle. Those all kind of tie into everything I talk about, with whether it's the naturopathy or the gardening, or soul, body, spirit. I don't use it as often. I should, but when I'm teaching about soul, body, spirit, um, that's a hashtag. But how about you, Queenie?
For me, it's almost always hashtag water, hashtag green. My company with Kangen Water is very green as far as chemical free lifestyle. Hashtag work from home. I can't believe it myself, but September 29th starts my 15th year full time with Enagic, the Kangen Water Company. And this time has seriously blink and boom, here we are 15 years later. I can't believe it myself. But hashtag
Wow.
work from home has been a biggie. And then now I use hashtag posting party for absolutely everything I do, because that has exploded my growth times a million for some of the posting parties I've been able to help with. So there's those types of, and I hashtag organic, because it always makes me wonder about the folks that either spend tons of money at the store for organic something, or grow it themselves organically to the best of their ability with all the sky air stuff going on. But it's back to that same drill. You're going to take that gorgeous harvest, organic everything, and rinse it in tap water. That makes my head pop off. And so I see people do that all the time. So I hashtag organic sometimes too.
Oh dear, I was going to switch my background, but obviously it's not happening. I don't know what you see on there, but
It's
I'm
Doc and
kind of in
Queenie.
the dark.
It's that, and that happened to me the other day too. Look down at the bottom of where you're out of the box, so to speak, and it'll show what picture
Yes.
we're saying. So it's Doc and Queenie Day.
Yes, and that's what I was trying to get to, but I'm
Yeah, but
getting a little
that's what
spinny.
shows. That's what shows, but it shows
Okay.
up black on your screen, spinning and buffering.
Okay.
And I've had that
Okay.
happen too because of bandwidth.
So I was going to suggest, I don't know if you've used this, but another hashtag for you, Queenie, could be push a button.
Yeah.
because you teach
I
that a
do. I
lot.
say that a lot, don't I? Yeah. Yeah. Just
Yes,
push a button. You won't break anything. Yeah. I did that
push
today
it
on
up,
another
but
hosting party, actually. And I said, just push a button. You won't break anything. And because one of the
nope.
ladies was super shy to put her video on her profile. And I said, just push a button. I promise you won't break it. And
Well,
so,
and the joy of the social media, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or whatever, if you post something, even on Facebook, you can always go back and delete it.
yeah.
And how I've done that many a times with postings to where I've posted something, I'm like, oh, I forgot the picture, or whoops, that's the wrong picture, or, whatever. So, yeah. So guess what, Queenie? I
Yeah.
think we're out of time again.
Oh my gosh. Well, happy Friendversary to you, Doc. And I'm super duper excited for all of
Yes.
our friends to join us for Doc and Queenie Day next week. So I guess you're going to have to
And,
take us home.
and a happy Friendsversary to you too. It's still hard for me to say that because it's too long. It's
Yeah.
Monday. You love Mondays and I'm still waking up.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So thank you everyone for joining us today on Doc and Queenie Facebook Live at
High noon.
We love our faithful friends on purpose. Thank you for joining us live or on our replay. And catch us back here next week for our very special Doc and Queenie Day to mark our anniversary of Doc and Queenie and our faithful friends on purpose. Until next time, have a fantastic and blessed week. Thank you, Phyllis and Grace and Michelle, for joining us today. And anybody that has checked us out on our replay. And please go to our Facebook Doc and Queenie page and join if you haven't, or, spread the word. We'd love to have more faithful friends on purpose. Thank you very much. Thank you, Queenie. And we will see everybody later.
Thank you, Doc. Bye for now.
Goodbye.